Hello everyone. Now I'm going to solve this question, longest ideal subsequence. It is the fourth question of weekly contest 305. So let's start with the problem statement first. So the problem statement says that we are given a string s, which consists of lowercase letters, and we are also given an integer k, right? Now we call a string t ideal if the following conditions satisfied. What are the conditions? The first condition is that t is a subsequence of string s. So now what is a subsequence? We all know, right? So let me reiterate. So subsequence means that from this string s, I'll take some characters which are in the same order in s, right? So for example, if let's say s is a b c d, right? So t being a c d is a subsequence, or a d is a subsequence, right? But BAD is not, or BAC is not a subsequence, because A comes before B in S, but B comes before A in T, right? So this will not be a subsequence. So okay, now the second condition is that the absolute difference in the alphabet order of every two adjacent letters in T is less than or equal to K. So these two, like A, C and C and D, right? So these are the adjacent letters. So adjacent letters, this difference must be less than or equal to K. We have to return the longest ideal string. A subsequence, okay, so subsequence definition is given, cool. And okay, the alphabet is not cyclic, so absolute difference in the alphabet A and Z is 25. Okay, so basically it means that from S we have to choose some set of characters which are in the same sequence as S, and we have to form a string T such that every adjacent character is difference has difference less than equal to K, right? So what we can do is okay, so basically what we can do is we can choose any character in S first of all, right? So the moment we choose a character, what we need to do is the next character in T will be to the right of that character, because it has to be a subsequence, right? So let's say I have chosen A here, so the next character can be anything between C, F, G, B, D, right? So we can choose any character to the right side, and we have to choose the character in such a way that the difference is less than or equal to K, right? So we can think of it as a state, like as a recursion, right? So what we can do is, let's say I am at index I, right? Okay, I am at index I at S. So I have two options basically. So from, just give me a second. Okay, so I am in S, I am at index I. So here I have two options, right? One is I can choose I, or I cannot choose I. Right? These are the two options that I have. If I choose I will just simply say that the length of, so I have to return the maximum length, right? So I don't have to generate the string itself. So I'll just say that okay, if I am choosing I, then I will have 1 plus whatever is the from I plus 1 to n, what is the substring, I have to choose a subsequence from that, and what will be the length, I will just add 1, and that will be the answer. If I don't choose I, then similarly I have I plus 1 to n, right? This is the substring from which I have to choose a subsequence, right? And that will be the answer. Now because you can see here that they are saying that the adjacent letters in T has to be less than or equal to K. So if I am choosing I in S, right, so the next character that I am going to choose depends upon the previous character that I have chosen, means that this ith character, right? So or let's say I am choosing this ith character, so if I can choose this ith character or not depends on what the previous character that I have chosen, right? So for example, let's say the previous character I have chosen is A, and so it means that from A to character A plus K, right? So if let's say K is 2, then A, B and C, right? Up till these three characters I can choose as the next character in T, right? So choosing a character or choosing a ith character depends on the last character that I have chosen because I have to calculate the difference. This is the variable on which this depends, right? Cool. So what we need to do is at any index I need the last character only. So I can create a function which will take the last character that I have chosen and the current index of the string, right? And it will also have string, obviously. So what I can do is I can check that if s of this index, the difference between this s of index and the last character, if this is less than or equal to k, then I have two options, right? I can choose or I can not choose, right? And if this is not the case, then I have only one option, that is not to choose, right? I can't choose this character because this is greater than k, the difference is greater than k with the last character, right? So if I choose, then what will be the answer? The answer will be that I have chosen this character, right? So length of t is going to be 1, at least 1 for this character, plus the length of t for the right part of the string, right? So it will be f of s. The LC, the last character for the right part is this present character because this is the character that I am choosing, right? So it will be s of index, and the next substring will start from index plus 1, right? If I am not choosing this, then what I can do is the answer will be f of s. The last character still remains the last character. So let's say t has this many characters, a, b, c, d, okay, and there is a last character. So this is a character that the last character the string has. Now if I choose s of I or s of index, so I will append s of index here, and then I will choose the next subsequence. So the last character becomes s of index. That's what I have done here, right? If I am not choosing s of index, so I am not choosing this, so obviously the last character remains the last character, it remains the same, right? So I will do s lc and index plus 1, right? So the same thing will happen in this case if the s index minus lc is less than or equal to k or not, right? In that case this will happen. So I can simply go with this. So I am calculating all the possible answers, and at the end I will return the maximum answer out of this, whatever is this, right? If this is the case, then I can directly return, else I will return the maximum of these two, correct? So I can use recursion here, obviously, but there is a thing, right? So there can be duplicate characters as well, right? Or there can be other things. So let's say instead of a, b, c, d, I have, so let's say there are two d's, or let's say I have a, c, d, for example. So I can, so basically what I am trying to say is that there can be multiple cases where I am at an index in s, right, and the last character is same, right, but in different cases, right? So for example, this is the s, a, b, d, d, let's say a, b, c, d, 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 e, okay. Now okay, so now and k is 1, right? So now what can t be, right? T can be a, b, c in this, using this formula that I have just generated in this recursion. At this index, when I am at e, t can be a, b, c, d, it can be a, b, c, d, d, it can be a, b, c, d, 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 right? Let's say there are some other characters e, f, g, h, I, let's say, right? So at this index, any of these three is valid, and for all these three, what I have the last character as d, right? And the decision that I have to make at this index, that whether I need to choose e or not, depends only on this last character, right? So for all these cases, the calculation for this suffix string is going to be same. So we are going to repeat this function, right? So for this case I am going to repeat the same thing, same recursion tree here. We can for this index we have to repeat the same recursion tree here. So that is the problem. So I am doing repetitive work. So what I can do instead of that is I can use simply memorization. So in memorization, what this recursion state depends on? This recursion depends on the last character which I have here in case d, and the index of the string. Now the last character can be anything between small a to small z, right? So it can be anything between small to small z, which I can write as 0 to 25, right? And this index can be anything between 0 to n minus 1. So I can keep an 2D array from 0 to 25, let's say number of rows, and 0 to n minus 1 number of, these are the columns, and at each of these cells I'll store the answers, right? So anytime so first I'll store, let's say, minus 1, and then if I get the answer I'll store it here, right? So in every case, before doing all these calculations, right, before making these functions calls, I'll just check that if I have previously calculated the result or not. If for this particular last character and this particular index I have already calculated the result or not. If I have calculated the result, if the result is present in DP, I'll simply return, else I'll calculate, right? So for each character I'm just calculating one. So what will be the time complexity? The time complexity will be 26 into n. 26 is this much, which is the number of total last characters, and n is the number of the length of the string, right? So that will be the time complexity. So let's look at the code now. So you can see here that I am taking the n, then I have created dp. I am just passing string, the index, the k, dp, and else. Else is the last character. I am just checking if index is at the end of the string, means there is empty substring. So what will be the length of the t? If there is an empty string, then the length will be 0. So I am returning 0. If dp of last character, lc, and the index is not equal to 1, means I have already calculated, simply return the answer. Else I am taking first the answer as 0. Then I am checking that if lc is equal to 26. So I have taken the size as 27 and I am passing 26. What 26 means? 26 means that I have not chosen any character till now, right? So I don't have to check these conditions. So for the first character that I am taking for t, there is no previous character, so there is no point in checking this condition. I can take any character that I want. So I am just checking that if lc is 26, and lc will only reach 26 for the first character only, because we have till z and z is till 25, right? So if lc is 26 or the condition satisfies, means that lc minus the character, that is s of int, so minus a gives the number. So if the difference is less than or equal to k, then I can choose this character. So this means I can choose this character. So I am just choosing 1 plus the next recursive index, the next recursion call, s index plus 1 k dp, and the last character is modified now. If that is not the case, then anyway I not, from the not choosing case, I can so basically here you can see that these two calls, right? So this call and this call is same. So there is no point in making this separate. So I have taken out of that if else statement. So I am just making this a generalized call. And once I have got the result, and also I am taking the maximum answer out of these two, this and this. Once I have got the maximum answer, because dp, lc, and index was not calculated, so I am storing that answer and just returning it, right? So that's the solution, right? I hope you understand. Please leave your feedback in the comments. Thank you.